Hau Mitakuyepi. Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to answer some questions. And several weeks ago, I put another video up saying that I would do a question and answer kind of video. A lot of good questions came in, some in email too. And as a result, I'm going to have several question and answer videos to cover everything. And I'm also going to look at some questions that people asked over the years. So let's begin with my first question and answer video. Okay, I have my computer screen is over there. So I'm going to look over there from time to time to read my questions. And the first one was written by a person named Jenny Rollins. I'm going to say her name because it's in public. The video is public, so I will say her name. And the question is, do you miss your homeland here in the U.S.? And did speaking different languages always come easily for you? I love listening to your stories. First of all, Jenny, I really appreciate your question, and I really appreciate that you take the time to listen to the videos. And I'm very grateful for that because I really enjoy making these videos. Okay, to answer these questions, do I miss my homeland here in the U.S.? I should say, in the United States. I miss my family. That's the number one thing I want to say. But thank goodness for the technology of the internet that at least I can have contact through online. It's not the same as having in-person contact, but I do miss them, and it's always a hope for me to go back and visit my family. When I lived on a reservation, I was fortunate to have found the jobs that I did have. I was a teaching assistant for a time, and then I was a library services director. And I got these jobs because of my qualifications. I was not related to anybody on the tribal council. I didn't have those connections to getting those jobs. So I lucked out, and I was very fortunate. I was able to make enough to survive, support my family. But yeah, there was a time where things got really difficult where I worked, but I don't want to really go into that. I just had really difficult experiences because where I worked was in a non-native school on the reservation, and I was the only Lakota teacher there. But that's another story. I'll just say it was difficult. Okay, and it started out really good because of the students, and then the situation worsened, and it wasn't because of the students, it was because of something else. And I don't want to talk bad about anybody because, I'm glad for all my experiences in my life because they've led me to where I am today. I'm thankful for the blessings that I have in my life. So, but it was difficult. And I had difficulty even with a tribal organization that involved Lakota language too. And it was, yeah, I felt I couldn't really grow with the work that I do there. So, yeah, circumstances led me to Germany. And then I moved to France for a while to try to make a life there. So I learned the language as good as I can. Let me back up a little bit. When I moved here, I went to a school called, in German, it's called Volkshochschule. And it's like kind of like a community school. You can go there and learn all kinds of things. Yeah, there's languages, cooking, or all kinds of courses are taught. in these schools. And just about every community, every town in Germany has a Volkshochschule. It's for languages, it's probably the least expensive way to learn. There are a lot of private schools, language schools in Germany. They're very expensive. They're in small groups, like 4 to 6 people, and people would say, go to this one and go to that one. No, I learned it in 6 months when I went here. But geez, those schools are expensive. And at that time, I didn't have so much money. So I went to a Volkshochschule, and there were like 25, yeah, it was about 25 people in the class. And they were from all over the world. It was cool, yeah. I made friends with some Japanese people, some South Korean people, some people from Iran, and a guy from England, and some, where were these African countries? I think it was Zambia, and I forget the other one, but Poland. I met people from Poland, from Spain, from Sweden. It was cool. Yes, we're all there from different countries, and very international flair, and it was fun to learn together like that, and had some good friends through that experience. I'm really thankful for that experience. And so I was starting to learn the basics of the language. And in those classes, the teachers, they only spoke German. Yeah, so you had to really think, what are they saying? And they use body language too, though. Yeah, so then we were able to figure it out, and then emulate, copy what they were saying too. It starts out with, hello, my name is so and so. What's your name? And then you have to answer the teacher likewise. Things like that. Then it gets more complex. We had textbooks and so forth. And for me, learning German like that was nice because, like I said, we were meeting people. There were some people that just stayed by themselves. They don't want to talk to anybody. I'm here to learn German and nothing more. But there were some of us who were more open to each other, and during the breaks we would talk and, hey, where are you from? Some could speak English, so we're not supposed to be speaking other languages, but during the breaks we would talk with each other, and it was very good. I met a person from Iran who absolutely only spoke Persian. That's their language. And she had great difficulty in trying to speak German. And nobody wanted to talk to this person, this woman, for whatever reasons. And sometimes I think the reasons were not good reasons. And I know what that's like, yeah, to be singled out and having people go against you. Because that's one of the things that happened to me in South Dakota on the reservation by my own people, believe it or not. I wanted to start a lot of things on the reservation, and people did their best to stop me. And like I said, that's another story, but I know what that's like to be singled out and looked down upon. And I felt bad for this person. So the only way I could communicate with her was in German. And she was having difficulty. But I tried my best, yeah. And then we were talking. Simple sentences. But through this communication, we became really good friends. Yeah, one of the coolest friends I ever had in my life. So I think when it comes to learning a language, it's the atmosphere you're in, yeah? Because if I was like in a university class, for example, where there's a grade involved and it's more, how can I say it, more clinical? Like machinistic, like a machine, where you have a textbook and you got to learn this. The grammar is really whatever. I don't think I would have liked it. um, I see the validity in learning a language like that, but from my experience as teaching high school students in South Dakota, was that when you learn to talk to each other and say things that you're going to say, like, what shall we do? Should we go to McDonald's, or should we go to the powwow, or should we get some pizza? Things like this. When you talk about things that you actually will say and you are getting to know somebody like that, it's friendlier. The atmosphere, the context, everything is more deep because you're communicating with somebody or a group of people, and they're communicating to you, and you're forming like a union, yeah, a friendship, and a fellowship, you could say. And it's nice to learn a language and also get to know somebody at the same time. When I taught high school, there was a young lady, I won't say her name out of privacy, but she always kept to herself. She was a Lakota gal. And the other teachers in her other classes, they warned me. They said, "You just want to tell you, be prepared. She doesn't do anything. She just sits there and looks down to the floor the whole time. She doesn't bring her textbook. She doesn't write notes. When the teachers ask her questions, she doesn't say one thing." And they were telling me this, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But when she came to my class, it was a very small class for this one, and there's just a couple of others in there, and they didn't talk to each other. Yeah, they're all Lakota, but they didn't talk to each other. And this is a small school. But the first thing I did was start dialoguing, ask simple questions, and then they had whatever I prepared. I would give it to them. First of all, we learned to say the sounds, and then do some vocal exercises, because Lakota sounds are kind of complex. And so a lot of them have grandparents and they've heard the language, so that they did their best to do that. And at the end of the hour, I would usually tell a story, because a lot of these kids, they don't know these things. There's a reason why. I don't want to go into explaining that reason, but I have a video called Christian Brainwashing. Listen to that video and you'll know the reason why. So they were really interested. Yeah, the stories would get to them, and they're like, wow, they didn't realize they come from a culture that has such beautiful stories and a wonderful language. And so as I interacted with them and got them speaking, then I had them talking with each other. Yeah. But first I had them so that they felt confident and in themselves to say the sounds, and based on what these other teachers said, I was expecting her to just sit there, but no. Yeah, she answered. And then when I had them dialoguing with each other, I made the dialogues funny too. So when they were talking with each other, they start laughing, and do you see? I'm creating. Well, we are all creating an atmosphere where there's something that they talk about, that they know, that they are familiar with, and now they can say it in Lakota. And boy, it didn't take that long where these students of mine were speaking in Lakota. I get a little teary-eyed when I think about that experience. Yeah, because when I went to this school as a child, it's the same school I went to when I grew up. When I went there, we were punished if we even said one Lakota word. Yeah, soap in the mouth. I had a teacher who grabbed a student by the hair and slammed his head on the desk. Uh, that's how I grew up in that school, that same school. So it was a really sweet victory for me to see the children of some of these people speaking Lakota in the room. And then it got to the point where they were speaking Lakota walking down the hallway. And I thought, cool. That was a nice victory for me in a way, yeah, because 20 years earlier it was the total opposite. That was really not a good situation. So, well, that was 40 years ago now. But at the time when I was teaching, that was 20 years before that. Okay. So it was creating that atmosphere to make it comfortable so that they want to speak, that nobody laughs at them when they say something funny. Yeah, because I think that's the greatest fear for a lot of people, no matter what language it is that you're learning, that you're scared you say something wrong. And I said, just say it, even if you don't get it right the first time, you will get it right eventually. Yeah, it will happen. Practice makes atakili, I used to say. Atakili means really good, damn good, yeah, something like that. And so they would do that. And it was so cool to see friendships form from different circles of students, yeah, different groups of students that maybe they're against each other, teenagers, yeah. But maybe one from this one and one from this one were in my class. Now they have to dialogue. And the dialogues are funny, they're cool, sometimes they're nice, yeah. I made them nice. And then so that as they talk with each other and stuff, and then they start to form something, and then every class was like a little family, yeah. So this feeling of doing that, it made it easier for them. So when I came to Germany, I didn't realize that in that class, this Volkshochschule class that I was in, I didn't realize that I kind of did the same thing. But on the other side, yeah, like when we would work together, like sometimes the teacher had us pair up in groups and do certain things, and then when we're at the end of the class, then we all have to do these presentations with the person that we are paired up with. For example, when you're at the store and there are some sections where you have to order things in the food store, like in one section there might be something where there's pastries there, like cakes, donuts, and certain kind of breads and stuff like that. Another section there might be meats, fresh meat. There's packaged stuff here, yeah, pre-packaged pastries and stuff, but they're not fresh and they don't taste that good. And the meat is okay, the pre-packaged, but there's sometimes where you want things fresh, and there's special places for that within the store. So, for example, if I'm at the pastry place and I want to order something sweet and maybe some kind of a cake, like apple strudel. Some of these places serve really good ones. So let's say I'm gonna order that. So they'll ask me, what would you like? And I might say something like, "Ich hätte gerne ein Apfelstrudel, ein Stück," or something like that, which is I would like a piece of apple strudel, and then so they'll get it prepared and give it to me. Okay, so things like that, when you actually say things that you're going to say in everyday life, again, there's that. It's the content. What is it you're learning that are you actually going to use that? That really helps in learning things too. So these are the kind of things that we learned in the language class that I was in. So we did things like that in the classroom. And when the teacher would be asking a certain student, she would say something in German, and then he or she has to answer in German too. And if that person is having difficulty, I mean, I wasn't the expert, but if I knew the answer, I wouldn't. You know how some people are who they want to answer every question to impress the teacher. I wasn't that way. I was trying to have that person look at me and then with my mouth make the motion. And then, and then, then they would answer. You know, they figured out what I was trying to give them, yeah. And then, but I didn't want to say it because I don't want to answer it for them. I want them to figure it out. I'm kind of trying to help them to answer it. And then they would answer the question, and then I would go, yeah, you know, like that. They cheer them on. The others started doing that too. Yeah, other people were cheering other people on, and that was so cool to see that happen. So, like I said, it's very similar to what I was doing when I was teaching in South Dakota, but this time I'm on the student side. Yeah, I was cheering people on, and other people picked that up, that same behavior. And it kind of like we became a team, everybody, and it was really cool. Yeah, there was no competition against each other. Like nobody was trying to be the best one, you know, the best speaker. Instead, we were helping each other. Those who needed help, we would all, you know, support one another like that. And I got this thinking from Tioshpai way of thinking. Like I said, when I was teaching my high school students in South Dakota, and we became like a group. And as we learned what a Tioshpai is, then they started to function like that, and then they were helping each other. That was pretty cool. And now I'm applying this in the language class that I was in. But this time I'm not the teacher, I'm a student, but I'm still able to do that. That wasn't even my plan. Yeah? I wasn't thinking that. It's just how I am. But I want everybody to do the best that they can, and if I can be a help to them, then I do that. So that's why I was cheering them on, and then next thing we're cheering each other on, and it was really good. And when we did our projects together, and they were really funny, and and that sticks with you, yeah. When you learn in that kind of environment, the information that you learn, you comprehend it more. It stays with you longer than if you just did a course that's clinical, like in university or something like that. And when we were at the end of the year, I think it was around Christmas time, we were going to break for Christmas, and it was going to also be the end of that course. And there's several courses that you have to take, but this was our first one, the first one, and then there's several more after that. And so some of the people were gifting each other little tiny things and candy and stuff like that. It was really nice. And as we were getting ready to leave for the Christmas holiday, the instructor, she said some things, and by this time my understanding of German is much better, and I could understand what she was saying. And she said that this was the first class she ever had where we functioned like a group, that the students were helping each other. She was teaching for 25 years and she never saw this before. Why? Took that as a compliment. And not me, but we all did it. Yeah. And maybe I started the fire, but we all did it, yeah, together. And she thought that was so cool, yeah, that this happened and that she's going to be our teacher the next time, the next course too. So she was saying, she hopes that we all come back, and because she enjoyed how that is, how that is functions like that. And yeah, if I remember, I just remembered I gave her my language book. I just remembered that for Christmas, yeah, and because I just wanted to show her what I do. Because now I remember her saying, now I know why David is this way, because he's a teacher. He teaches language. But, I've experienced some language classes where that did not happen. Yeah. There are environments where people who are teaching, maybe they're not using a method that works. When you take a language class, of course you're going to learn how to say hello, my name is so and so, I live at so and so, and I like to do this and that, whatever that is, and take it from there. That was my thinking, because there was a time in university where I did take a Spanish course, and that's what they did. Yeah. I don't remember any of the Spanish that I learned. That's the only thing I remember. But it was basically, hello, my name is this, and what's your name? That it started like that. So to me, that's logical. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's how I started my Lakota language class. And when I was in this German class, the teacher did the same thing. And she got us talking. It's simple things, but she got us talking right away. I realized she was doing the same thing that I did in my language classes in South Dakota. And to get the class working as a group, and I kind of did that. Well, I did do that in the language class in Germany too, here learning what I just said. And I think if you can be in an environment like that, the language comes easy. Because in this German class, there was another guy who really spoke English good, and he just couldn't get it. It was too much for him. Oh, I can't stand this, he said. He folded up his book, put it in his bag, got up and walked out of class. And I thought, okay. We were sitting together, so we could talk with each other, and he was friendly. He was an okay guy. And I could feel his frustration, because German grammar is very, very difficult. And I think one expectation that people have is that when they learn the language, they think, I'm going to be fluent, I'm going to speak it perfectly, and everything is going to be fantastic, and I'm going to talk just like everybody in Germany. But think about this. For those of you who speak English and only English, do you speak perfect English? Bet you anything, you don't. Because if you hear perfect English, it really sounds weird. Okay? It does. I know, because I used to. When I was in high school, I was really good in that. Yeah, and it is a very weird sounding. I used to be that person that would correct everybody. But you know what? In my school, I was the only one speaking like that. Nobody speaks perfect English. Yeah, nobody does. They speak good English. We can speak good enough that we are understood. We don't say, me is hungry. We don't say that. We say, I am hungry. Yeah, that's good English. It's a simple sentence, but I'm talking about really long sentences. To speak that perfect is very difficult, and most people don't. And that's the way it is in other languages, even in Lakota. it's that way. There's not that many people who really speak perfect Lakota. Most of them people are gone. And even first language speakers don't speak perfect Lakota either. That's the thing. Yeah? It's interesting dynamic there. So I think when you are learning a language, don't set unrealistic goals for yourself. I think if you go in thinking, okay, I want to learn this language so I can talk with the people here, but you're not going to stand there and speak perfect English like a professor to everybody. Most people will think you're weird. Yeah? Why is he saying that? Why is he talking English like that? What's wrong with him? Because nobody talks like that. You want to speak in a way where you're understood and you understand them. And if you don't understand them, you ask them, could you explain that again? And most times they will explain it to you. Most of my experiences in Germany, I've been good. Where if I didn't understand somebody, I might say, wie bitte? Or, something like that. Could you say that again? I didn't understand. Most of the time, they know I'm not a German fluent speaker. And most people are glad to help you. They will explain it, even in German, yeah? Because you can hear it, you can figure it out. And then it works. It's rare that I've had an experience where somebody says, you know? It did happen to me a couple of times where us Auslanders, yeah, these people who come from other parts of the world, you run into that, but it's rare. Most of the time, it's really really good. They do help you with what you want to say. So have expectations. Be realistic about it. And when you're setting your goal, be realistic about that. Your goal could be something like, I would like to be able to go downtown and understand some things that people are saying, to interact with people. That's really important, interacting. Yeah? We all are designed for that. That's why we have these. We're designed to interact with each other. and these two, to hear it. Yeah? So it all works together. So you have that kind of a expectation. How do I ask for help in a store? Whether it's a clothing store or food store, things like that. How do I order for food in a restaurant? These are good places to start, to be realistic about things like that, because believe me, things will start to gel as long as your mind is in that set. Yeah, as long as your mind is going in that direction, things are going to gel. But you got to do this. You have to immerse yourself into it. Yeah, you have to really put yourself into it. I like houses. I like design, architecture, things like that. And there was this show on German TV where it's about people who are looking for apartments, or maybe there's a business guy that's looking for a location to open his business, whatever it is. And these real estate people show them different places and stuff like that. And it's a really cool show. And these real estate agent people speak clearly. So here's something I'm interested in, and automatically I'm watching it. Yeah, and as time went on, and the more I attended my classes and interacted with the students, the more I could understand what's being said on that show, because they don't speak so fast, and it was a big help. And pretty soon, I could do this more. So you have to listen to it too. Yeah, you have to listen, even if you don't understand right away. That's the one thing I learned in the German class. Our teacher would play us a tape or a CD of a telephone call, for example. Like this, there was this one where this trucker, who was calling his wife at home, and he was saying things, and he couldn't even, I couldn't even. We had to just listen to it one time and then tell the teacher, what do you think it was about? Gee, that was difficult. But she said, don't try to go word by word. She said, just listen. Yeah, just listen. And if a word comes to you that you know, remember that one. So I remembered dinner. I remembered cola. Not that that's a German word. Uh, all food, yeah. Food that I like. so so he must have been talking to his wife about what he's eating or what he's going to eat at that time, and there were some other things too. I can't remember the whole thing, and that's what you have to do too. Is like if I'm listening to the radio or a TV show in German, there's words I know I can pick it out, and then you watch them and you can see you can put things together. People do that in English too. Yeah, when people are going to America, they're doing the same thing, and it's really a interesting process to do that. So that's what I did to get associated with the language, and not only talking with people but listening to shows. And then since I'm a musician and I like to do eBay, I would like look for guitars and stuff like that. And so I would read the description on eBay, yeah, and look at what it says, and then I would go, okay, I know that word, I know that word, I know that word. Ah, okay. And then the more I did that, see, that's my interest. So look for things that are your interest in that language and try to do that. And of course, nowadays you have Google Translate and all these programs, but you know, Google Translate didn't exist when I came to Germany. I had to you just pick out a word here and there, and I know that one. But the more you do that, the more you put things together, then you might see a German word that's this long. Alphabet parade. As who said that? The guy who wrote Tom Sawyer, I forgot his name. Said German language is the alphabet parade because the words are really, really, really long. But you can see this part, and oh, that looks familiar. That looks, and then you realize, oh, yeah. When you say parts of the word, you understand certain things. Oh, I bet it means this is the government office for approving people who cook or whatever, yeah, things like that. You can kind of figure things out when you see big words. You see parts of little tips like that. And like I said, for me it's context. First of all, learning things that you're actually going to use and having realistic expectations and listening to the sounds of the language. What's really fortunate for me and for Germans too is that the sounds of our languages are almost the same. So if I say och, they say it no problem. Tchanicha, no problem. Tachja, no problem. Opanwiche, no problem. They say it no problem, yeah, because they have the same sounds as we do. So it's really cool. So when I'm learning German words, like if I say ich bin hungrig, that means I am hungry. Over here they say ich habe Hunger. I have hunger. Yeah? But when I'm saying this sound ich to say that, most Americans can't say that sound. They say ich. To me, that sounds funnier than hell. And I know some Americans who speak pretty damn good German, but it sounds funnier than hell because it's all ich. Yeah, anytime there's that sound, they say k, yeah, that K sound, and it just sounds goofy to me. And my German language teacher said, yeah, most Americans, they don't have that ability to say that. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting with cultures. Yeah. So I did the same thing. As I said, I spent a little time in France and I did the same thing. I got internet radio and I would listen to French radio, learn some French songs. That's another thing. Learn a song in that language. Yeah. The first German song I learned was Blau Blut's der Enzian. Yeah. It's a really cool song. I love it. I'll put a link to the song in the description, okay? Below. Now I don't remember all the words. Something like blah blah blah, Blutster Enzian. Wenn den Apfelblumen wir uns wiedersehen, mit ihren rote Lippen, Fingers. I forgot that part. But see, immerse yourself. Yeah, listen to the language, learn a song. That's why in my YouTube videos sometimes I put a Lakota song up, and I haven't done that in a long time. I have to do that really soon again because I like doing that too, to share Lakota music so that you can learn to sing it as well. So I never knew that I had an interest in languages until I became a language teacher. I didn't know that. All my life, I only spoke Lakota and English before I became a language teacher. In school, there were times, they had a Spanish class and so forth, but it just never interested me. I wanted to be a musician. Yeah? I wanted to be a rock star. Yeah? And so music is me. Yeah, it's first and foremost. I'm a musician, and I love music. Love writing music, playing music, listening to music, especially from other cultures. That's really opens your mind. It expands, and that's the same thing with language. It does the same thing. And so it wasn't until I became a language teacher and I saw my students as just hungry for the language, and I thought, wow, that's cool to see. So it humbled me, yeah. And so I tried my best to give them help and to give them what they wanted. And the result was wonderful. And what I said earlier, I took that same pattern when I came to Germany, and I did the same thing, but from the student perspective, yeah. Yeah, we became a team, like I said, and to just do it, yeah, and not have a goal of, okay, this week I'm going to learn 100 words, and then the second week I'll learn another 100 words. So by the end of the year, I'll know 5,200 words. That's linear thinking. It's not going to work. Yeah, you have to take it each day. Each day you might be able to comprehend and learn more. But another day, maybe not. And that's okay. Just relax and just do what you can. Because the day after might even be more. Yeah? Take it day by day. Don't set expectations that are really unrealistic. Like, okay, I'm going to take this language course, so I should be able to do this, and then after I do this after a year, I should be perfect. Most likely, that's not going to happen. That's because it's unrealistic. Like I said, just be realistic with everything and enjoy. Yeah, it really try to enjoy it, which, like I said, means get into an environment where it's friendly. Yeah, and that people are part of like a team. And if somebody laughs at you, it hurts, but then push it away. Yeah, because they're not you. You are a wonderful person. So they don't see it the way you do. And you know what? When you learn another language, you learn another perspective. And it's like life has more definition. You see things that you didn't see before. They were always there. That happens. And usually people who laugh at you, if they're mean about it, it's because they're closed-minded. They like to put down anything that they think is less than them to make themselves feel better. It's really unhealthy. It's an unhealthy way to live. But let whatever emotion comes to you, whether it's anger or hurt, feel it and then let it go. Yeah? Let the mind and heart talk to each other. So you have to give yourself a thought. Wait a minute. But I'm learning another language so I can speak to more people. I can connect to more people. I can widen my perspective. And it does something to you when you learn a new language. It's really hard to explain, but it seems like you even become more relaxed in a way. It's hard to explain that, but yeah, you have worries in life, but sometimes it takes a little bit load off too. I know not everybody is a language person. We're not all the same, yeah, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Because if we were all the same, it would be really boring, yeah. If everybody was a chef, we'd all be standing around. Where's the food? We're all standing around. We know how to cook, but we have no food. Everybody's gonna die. That's not gonna work. Yeah. So we all have to be different. That's important. It's good to be different. So if you want to learn another language, that's a good sign that maybe there is something there. Because most people who don't want to, don't even think about it. Yes, the fact that it comes to you as a thought could be something for you to consider. It's wonderful to learn another language. And the other thing is that you have to use it. Yeah, you have to use it. If you don't, then it goes. So what I've been saying is a lot about how it was for me when I first arrived in Germany. The other thing, though, is that a lot of my business is done in English. I've been to places where I've done seminars and mostly English-speaking places. I've been to some other places like Switzerland, but I always had a translator there for my seminars, for my presentations. And since most of my business involves people who speak English, I've been doing a lot of English speaking throughout the years. So even though I've lived here in Germany for close to 20 years, most of that has been speaking English. But now, in the past 4.5 years, I have more friends, and a lot of them mostly speak German. So I am able to converse with them, and I'm able to use what I've learned and develop it more. So within the past 4.5 years, I've been speaking the best German I've ever spoken. Because, like I said earlier, you have to use it and develop it, and that's how it stays with you. So that's what I've been able to do. I can do things in the stores, and sometimes I can do things business-wise. And also, recently I've been doing seminars here. I've had the help of my wife in translating for me during the seminars, and sometimes when I have questions from some of the participants, I try to answer what I can in German, but I really am thankful for the assistance from my wife to help me in getting these questions answered. But at the same time, I'm also learning from that too. Any time that I'm doing something or talking with somebody, no matter what situation it is or where I am, I try to learn things as I'm hearing people talk. I'm constantly doing that, and I'm picking things up that I didn't know before, and it's getting easier and easier. So the past 4.5 years, I've been speaking more German than I ever have, but I'm not completely speaking German in all situations, but I'm speaking more. And I try, and I'm always trying to better my skills. So all in all, I've been speaking more German than I ever have before within the past 4.5 years. And here's the thing I want to leave you with. When we're born, we don't run, yeah? Well, first we have to learn to sit up, yeah? And then we learn to crawl, and then we learn to stand up, and then we learn to walk. Then we learn to run, yeah? So there's a succession there. That takes time. When the body's ready, when the mind is ready, when the will is there, then we do that. That same process can be applied to learning a language too. Just take it slow. Yeah, don't rush it. Take it and do what you can. That's why when people contact me, sometimes they'll say, I'd like to learn Lakota language. How long will it take to become fluent? It depends on you, and it depends on how much time you want to put into learning that language. Yeah, so a lot of it depends on you and your will, your desire for that. So that's my answer to the question. I thank you very much, Jenny Rollins, and I really appreciate the comments, the other comments that you leave on the other videos, and making sure I answered everything. Yeah, and thank you for listening. Yeah, I really do appreciate that. That all of you take the time to tune in from your schedule to listen to the things that I talk about. I really, really appreciate it because as you can tell, I enjoy talking, and sometimes I repeat myself, and I apologize for that. But I'm the kind of person that has to hear things again sometimes. Yeah, anyway, I was able to answer only one question, but I'm going to make another video, and some of these questions are really short, and I will be able to answer several questions in one video. Okay, but there will be a series of these videos because, boy, some of these questions are really good. And yeah, I have the list on my computer screen here too, on this side, that side. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to this video, and I look forward to speaking with you again very soon. And as I said in many times in almost every video, we don't have a word for goodbye, so we say until next time, which in Lakota is Stok Sha Ake. And I will catch you in the next video.